Hi, this is David Walker. You are watching At Random with Ken K here at AwesomeCon 2019 in Washington, D.C.
Hey guys, we are here at AwesomeCon 2019. This is the last day of the convention, and I'm sitting here with writer David Walker, known for a lot of titles like Power Man and Iron Fist, Shaft, Cable and Deadpool, and most recently came out with a creator-owned title, Bitterroot, with Sanford Green, correct?
Sanford Green and Chuck Brown, yes. Chuck's my co-writer.
All right, good. So, just being a fan of some of the work you've done, and especially books like Nighthawk as well, you seem to be very much in sort of like the crime fiction mode as far as some of your titles are concerned. Would that be a fair assumption?
I've been there, and but Bitterroot is more of a horror family drama, and I have a book at DC right now that I'm co-writing with Brian Bendis, Naomi, and that's a bit of a mystery, but it's also the beginnings of an epic superhero journey. So, but I have a soft spot in my heart for that crime, that sort of hard-boiled fiction. But I can do anything. I could write a romantic comedy. I've actually done that. So yeah.
Well, you're definitely modest. I'll give you that.
It's late in the day on Sunday. I'm sort of I'm delirious. I'm loopy. I've got con fever. So that's when the ego starts running out of control.
Well, as long as you don't get the con crud, because as much as I used to hear about it, it was like years before I finally experienced that for myself. So here's hoping that's not the case this time around.
I hope so. I kind of have a almost an immune system built up against con crud. But every November I get really sick. At the end of con season, so I do probably about 10 conventions a year. So yeah.
Okay. So what would you say have been some of your like major accomplishments as far as being a writer, and obviously as a African American writer and being able to put a lot of that into your writing? What would you say has been like the biggest impact as far as some of the titles that you've worked on?
Well, the biggest accomplishment is just not quitting. It's followed by completing something, and then followed by getting something published. I think in that order. You don't quit, you keep going, and then you finally get published. So that's it. I mean, there's definitely been some, I guess you could sort of say like maybe landmarks or benchmarks within my career. Shaft was a critical project for me, but then so was Cyborg. Every single project is very important to me, and I think I would like to think takes me to another level, to another place within my career. I just released a original graphic novel about the life of Frederick Douglass, and that was very crucial for me. It proved that I could do nonfiction, that I could do something that's nearly 200 pages. Both were things I really wanted to do, and now I'm doing another nonfiction book. So. I feel like a lot of us don't give credit just to the fact that we completed something, and I see a lot of people, I'm just trying to be successful, I'm trying to do this, and it's like, man, finishing it is really, really hard. Getting something published is really hard too, but you know what? You can't get something published if you don't finish writing it first.
Exactly. So what would you say is like a big character that you maybe haven't done yet that you would like to take a crack at writing?
I'll be 100% honest with you. There isn't one anymore. I've been very fortunate. I had the opportunity to write Luke Cage. I had the opportunity to write Shaft. I wrote a Planet of the Apes book. And there's obviously I would like to write Spider-Man or Hulk or Batman, but I'm not dying to write those characters anymore the way I used to years ago. I feel like I've been very fortunate. I've had tremendous opportunities, and what I'm more interested in is exploring my own characters and that sort of stuff, the creative freedom that comes with that. And so if the opportunity came up, say, to write a Spider-Man story, I would jump at it, but I'm not losing sleep over it anymore, because I know that very few writers, very few people are as fortunate as I have been to write as many things as I've always wanted to write. it almost became a cliche after a while, where I was like, yeah, this is just a dream project. But pretty much every project I've worked on in professionally in comics has been a dream project. And there comes a point where you're just like, okay, like I'm pushing my luck at this point. Just let's just do something else. And now it's about exploring different avenues of my imagination and creativity.
Oh, that sounds great. Now, as I understand it, I think Bitterroot was recently optioned for film. Can you tell us anything about how involved you plan to be in that process?
A lot of it depends on how much they'll let me be involved, but film is film and comics are comics, and I write comics. That's what I'm focusing on right now, and I could write a screenplay, but I couldn't write a screenplay that would be up to what Legendary wants to make for Bitterroot. So I'm going to let the filmmakers do what they do best, and I'm going to do what I do best. The comic was just nominated for an Eisner for Best New Series. I feel like, again, we're blessed. Chuck and I, the two writers of the book, we put our heart and soul into it. But we have more comics to write, and if I start focusing too much energy on trying to write a film that I don't think I would be able to do justice to, then the comics aren't going to get done. And then what do we have? We're left empty-handed. So a lot of it's just about focus. Knowing where the fight is, knowing what you can handle. Sometimes you punch up, sometimes you punch down, and sometimes you just stand toe to toe and punch with what's in front of you.
Okay. So, doing the convention circuit and everything, a lot of energy can get depleted. Sometimes interacting with fans can get daunting. How do you kind of maintain your energy? What's your go-to food-drink combination as far as getting through most of these cons?
Well, that's a good question, because right now the energy is gone. Well, one thing is I don't go to parties at night. I go back to the room and try to get to bed at a decent hour. Sometimes I'll go out for dinner with friends, but I also meditate a lot so that I can be prepared for just, you might talk to 1,000 people in the course of a single day. So after a con is sort of when I have my little breakdowns, and I'll go into my office at home and not come out for a few days. But I keep hydrated, and I carry a bottle of water and some protein bars with me, and hope I don't get too lightheaded. That's kind of what I do. So, and once in a while I'll break down and go to the concession stand and get a not very appetizing hot dog or a burger or something. So, but I'm not the best at taking care of myself from a nutritional standpoint at a convention.
Well, it's always good if you have friends that can leave the convention center altogether to get you something, maybe like a salad or anything that's not going to be what is usually provided at the con itself. But David, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me, and best of luck on all of your titles that you've got working on. Is there anything else new beyond Bitterroot that you can tell people about right now?
Yeah, there's Bitterroot. There's Naomi, which I'm co-writing with Brian Michael Bendis for DC. That's issue 5 comes out in May of 2019. The Life of Frederick Douglass just came out through 10 Speed Press, and I've started my own little company, Solid Comics, and the first issue of the first series that I'm doing is it's called One Fall. Issue number 1 is shipping in May of 2019, and that's about professional wrestling and the supernatural. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I got going on. I don't need to sleep. There'll be plenty of time to sleep when I'm dead.
All right, well, thank you, and hopefully you get through this last few hours of the con here, and we'll be looking out for those new projects.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.